What if your breakfast had legs, teeth, and excellent survival instincts? For most of human history, food did not wait on a plate. It ran through forests, hid under rocks, flew into trees, or buried itself underground. If you wanted to eat, you had to track it, trick it, dig it, carry it, and share it. And sometimes, after hours of effort, nature simply said, nope. So how long did a real hunting and gathering day actually last? Was it endless hunger, danger, and panic from sunrise to sunset? Or did ancient people understand time, work, and survival better than we think? Today, we follow one ordinary group through one very unpredictable day. No kings, no empires, no epic battles. Just tired feet, sharp eyes, hungry stomachs, and food that refuses to cooperate. Our story begins thousands of years before farms, markets, and delivery apps. A small group sleeps near a river, forest edge, or open grassland. They are not randomly wandering like lost tourists with spears. They know the land through memory, stories, smells, tracks, and experience. Their map is not drawn on paper, but inside many careful minds. Every hill, waterhole, bird call, and fruiting tree means something useful. In this world, food comes from two main strategies. One strategy is gathering plants, shellfish, eggs, honey, roots, and insects. The other is hunting animals, from tiny rabbits to enormous, dangerous beasts. Gathering is usually more reliable, which sounds less dramatic but saves lives. Hunting is riskier, flashier, and much better for exciting campfire stories. A single successful hunt can bring meat, fat, hides, bones, and pride. But several failed hunts can bring only blisters and awkward silence. That is why the whole group does not always chase animals together. Different people often do different tasks, depending on age, skill, and season. Children learn by watching, playing, carrying small things, and asking endless questions. Older adults provide knowledge, warnings, tool skills, and extremely important gossip. Nobody survives alone for long, because teamwork is the real superpower. Before dawn, the camp is quiet, except for low voices and small fires. People check tools, repair bindings, sharpen points, and pack carrying bags. There is no alarm clock, but cold air is very persuasive. The first big question is simple. Where should everyone go today? One person remembers berries ripening near the rocky slope. Another noticed animal tracks by muddy water yesterday evening. Someone else heard birds making noise near a possible honey tree. This is not guesswork. It is information management without a spreadsheet. The group discusses choices because bad planning wastes precious energy. Walking 5 hours toward nothing is prehistoric, unpaid overtime. Finally, the day divides into smaller missions. A gathering group heads toward plants, water, and known seasonal foods. A hunting group follows tracks toward open land and animal trails. Some people stay near camp to care for children, tools, and fire. This does not mean they are doing nothing. Maintaining camp is work, especially when everything can break, burn, or wander away. The gatherers usually leave after early light makes plants easier to see. They carry baskets, digging sticks, stone flakes, and deep local knowledge. To modernize, the forest looks like messy greenery. To them, it is basically a giant supermarket with terrible labeling. They know which roots need cooking and which berries cause regret. They know where bees nest and when birds lay eggs. They know plants that heal, plants that poison, and plants that taste boring. Gathering may take 3, 4, or 6 hours on a good day. On a bad day, it can take longer and produce less. Season matters so much that one month can feel like paradise. Another month can feel like nature has closed for renovations. Today, the gatherers search near a familiar patch of edible tubers. The digging is slow, dusty, and not very glamorous. But underground food is valuable because it waits better than running animals. Children help collect fallen nuts and learn which shells mean good food. One child proudly brings a useless rock because training takes time. The adults do not laugh too loudly because future experts begin somewhere. Meanwhile, the hunting group moves more quietly through the morning light. They carry spears, throwing sticks, bows in later periods, or simple traps. Their tools depend on where and when they live. Stone Age technology was not primitive. It was carefully engineered for survival. A spear point required planning, material choice, shaping, hafting, and repair. If your weapon breaks during a hunt, the animal does not politely pause. The hunters study footprints, droppings, broken branches, and disturbed dust. A fresh track is like a text message from lunch, but tracks can lie when wind, rain, or other animals confuse them. The hunters also watch birds, because scavengers may reveal animal movement. They listen for alarm calls from monkeys, deer, or nervous small creatures. The land is speaking constantly, but only trained ears understand. After an hour, they find signs of a small herd nearby. Now the difficult part begins, because seeing prey is not catching prey. Animals have eyes, ears, noses, and strong opinions about staying alive. The hunters must approach from downwind, moving slowly and using cover. One careless sneeze can ruin the entire morning. This is where prehistoric comedy becomes very real. Imagine everyone glaring at the person who stepped on the loudest twig. Sometimes hunters drive animals toward nets, cliffs, marshes, or waiting partners. Sometimes they ambush at waterholes or narrow paths. Sometimes they follow wounded or exhausted prey over long distances. Persistence hunting did exist in some environments, but it was not universal. Most people preferred not to jog under the sun for entertainment. Today, the hunters choose an ambush near a trail to water. They wait, which sounds easy until insects discover their faces. Waiting can last minutes, hours, or the rest of a disappointing day. Hunting time is often unpredictable because animals ignore human schedules. The sun rises higher, and the temperature begins stealing everyone's energy. One hunter silently signals that the herd is approaching. The group prepares, muscles tight, eyes focused, breathing controlled. A young hunter looks excited, which is dangerous if excitement becomes noise. The animals step closer, alert but not yet alarmed. Then a bird suddenly bursts from a bush nearby. The herd freezes, turns, and bolts away in one dusty wave. Nobody speaks for a moment, because ancient failure needs respect. There is the first lesson of the day. Nature does not owe you dinner. Still, the hunt is not finished. A smaller animal breaks from cover and runs toward another hunter. The spear flies, the timing is good, and the group succeeds. We do not need dramatic details. The important part is the result. The hunters now have meat, but also more work. Catching food is only the middle of the story. They must process it, protect it, and carry it back safely. Meat is heavy. Warm weather is unforgiving, and scavengers are interested. So the group works quickly, using stone tools with practiced movements. Useful parts are separated, packed, and prepared for transport. Bones, hides, sinew, and fat can all become valuable resources. To waste too much is foolish, because every animal costs effort. The hunters also watch for predators, because success attracts attention. Nothing says bad day like losing lunch to something with bigger teeth. By midday, both groups are tired in different ways. The gatherers have baskets of roots, nuts, greens, and maybe fruit. The hunters have meat, stories, and probably dirt everywhere. Now everyone begins the trip back. This return journey can be the most exhausting part. Food that seemed wonderful in the morning now weighs like a punishment. The sun is hotter, children are slower, and someone complains about thorns. Yet the mood improves when the camp appears ahead. People at camp notice the returning groups and prepare space for sorting. There is no private refrigerator waiting under a tree. Food must be shared, cooked, dried, roasted, pounded, cracked, or stored. Sharing is not just kindness, it is survival insurance. Today you find meat, tomorrow someone else finds honey. In small foraging societies, generosity often builds trust and future support. A selfish hunter might enjoy one meal and lose many allies. When food arrives, everyone has questions. Where did you find it? Were there more animals? Are the berries ripe yet? Did anyone see strangers, storms, fires, or dangerous tracks? Information travels with food because knowledge feeds tomorrow. The afternoon becomes a mix of cooking, repair, teaching, and social life. Some foods need long preparation before they are safe or tasty. Roots may be roasted, seeds ground, nuts cracked, and fibers cleaned. This work can continue for hours after gathering ends. So the food day is not only the search, it includes preparation, carrying, preserving, and planning the next move. Still, prehistoric people were not working every waking minute. Many hunter-gatherer groups had periods of rest, storytelling, play, and conversation. Their schedules were flexible, shaped by abundance, scarcity, and community needs. Some days were short and successful. Other days were long, hungry, and deeply annoying. During rich seasons, food might be gathered within a few hours. During lean seasons, people might travel far and return with little. Cold climates often required storing food, planning migrations, and hunting carefully. Tropical forests offered variety, but food could be scattered and difficult. Coastal groups might collect shellfish steadily, with less chasing involved. Desert groups needed extraordinary knowledge of water, plants, and animal movement. There was no single prehistoric timetable for everyone. The phrase, "a day of hunting and gathering," hides thousands of lifestyles. Around the fire, the group eats, repairs tools, and retells the hunt. The failed bird moment becomes funnier after everyone has dinner. The young hunter exaggerates his bravery by about 30%. An older hunter corrects him by about 40%. Children listen carefully, because jokes also carry survival lessons. Stories teach where animals run, how wind shifts, and when to wait. This is education without classrooms, homework, or fluorescent lights. Evening also brings tool maintenance. Stone edges dull quickly, wooden shafts crack, and bindings loosen. A broken tool tomorrow could turn breakfast into an apology. So people scrape, sharpen, twist fibers, and check every useful object. Clothing, bags, nets, baskets, and shelters also need constant attention. Prehistoric life was less about heroic moments and more about maintenance. Basically, survival was 1 part adventure and 3 parts fixing things. Now comes a surprising twist. Hunting was not always the main food source. In many places, gathered foods provided more daily calories than meat. That does not make hunting unimportant. Meat and fat were valuable, especially during hard seasons. But the quiet gatherer with a basket could be the real hero. Another surprise is that large game hunting was often rare and risky. Small animals, fish, eggs, shellfish, and plants often mattered more. A mammoth sounds exciting, but rabbits are less likely to flatten you. Also, people did not simply eat whatever they found immediately. They managed landscapes with fire, seasonal movement, and deep ecological knowledge. Some groups encouraged useful plants by returning to the same areas. Others time travel around migrations, fruiting seasons, and river changes. This was not farming, but it was not random either. Another misconception is that prehistoric people were constantly starving. Famine happened, and life could be harsh, but many groups had rich knowledge systems that reduced danger. Their survival depended on cooperation, memory, flexibility, and sharing. A modern person dropped into their world would struggle badly. Knowing which plant is edible is harder than choosing cereal. Knowing when an animal passed requires reading clues most people ignore. Even walking quietly through brush is a skill, not a mood. Some days of foraging may have lasted only a few active hours. Other days involved dawn starts, long travel, and work after sunset. The average depends on what counts as work. Is storytelling about animal tracks work? Is teaching a child to dig roots work? Is repairing a basket work? For hunter-gatherers, life and work blended together more than today. There was no office door separating job time from family time. Food, learning, play, ritual, and social bonding often happened together. This makes measuring their workday tricky and sometimes misleading. Another strange fact is that dogs changed hunting in many societies. Once domesticated, dogs helped track, chase, guard, and warn humans. They were not just pets, they were furry survival partners. But dogs arrived at different times and places, not everywhere at once. Weather could also completely rewrite the day. Rain erased tracks, wind carried smells, and heat exhausted hunters quickly. Snow could reveal footprints, but also make travel dangerous. Every environment offered both helpful clues and rude surprises. By night, the camp settles again under stars and cooling air. Food has been eaten, stored, shared, or saved for tomorrow. The hunters are tired, the gatherers are tired, and the children remain energetic. This is unfair, but apparently universal across human history. The day began with uncertainty and ended with knowledge. Even failure taught the group where not to search tomorrow. A hunting and gathering day could be short, long, easy, or brutal. It was shaped by season, skill, luck, and cooperation. It was not a simple battle between humans and nature. It was a conversation with the land, repeated every day. Our ancestors survived because they noticed tiny things: a bent grass stem, a bird call, a cloud shape, a bitter taste. They survived because they shared food and remembered stories. They survived because ordinary people became experts at ordinary landscapes. So, how long did a hunting and gathering day last? Sometimes only a few hours of direct food collecting. Sometimes nearly all day, including travel, processing, and preparation. The honest answer is, as long as survival required that day. And that answer makes their lives feel less primitive, not more. They were not lazy, and they were not always desperate. They were adaptable humans, solving daily problems with remarkable intelligence. Next time breakfast appears instantly, remember the ancient version. It had no fridge, no supermarket, and occasionally ran away. But it also came with teamwork, stories, skill, and shared purpose. So here is the bigger question. If farming changed everything, did it actually make daily life easier? Or did humans trade wild freedom for longer work and heavier worries?